Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Paranormal True Crimes. So this evening, we're going to take a look at a case out of North Carolina. Sara Graham. So what actually happened to her? Interesting. Hello, Liana. Welcome, Tess. Crazy Witch and everybody, welcome. Very interesting case. Doesn't make any sense. Does not, and it did not get any attention. That's what's really strange about everything. Mom and dad's in law enforcement. But Sara Graham from North Carolina. This happened in the fall of 2014. See, she was 18 years old, Sara Graham. She made the decision to leave her home state of Texas, where she lived with her mother and brother, and moved to rural North Carolina and lived with her dad. Now, when I looked at this case, it didn't make the news or the local paper, really. And that was strange. So, hey, Caroline. So, that kind of struck me odd. So, that was different. And the reason why it struck me odd is that the mother and the father both are in law enforcement. So, usually, when people are in law enforcement or a member of the families in law enforcement, usually you get a lot of attention on a case. So that's usually how it goes. So it just kind of struck me odd. So, rural North Carolina to live with her dad. So what we know is Sara was shy but sweet. She found a job at a local Wal-Mart. Yeah. She was a cashier and a greeter. Average person. Let me bring up a picture. Show you what we're dealing with here. Still have my Facebook up, I believe. Yeah, I do. Let me share what she looks like here while I'm telling you all the story here. There we go. Very responsible, we was told, and reliable young lady. Live with her father. Now, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, this is for entertainment purposes only. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. We always have to state that just in case. We don't want to crucify anybody, but we have to state that, right? So she lived with her father, Hubert, and her stepmom, Connie, in the small town of Fairmont, North Carolina. So on the morning of February 4th, 2015, allegedly Sara left her home around 6:30 a.m. work. At 7 a.m. that morning. So she left about 6:30. Her shift starts at 7. So evidently she didn't live that far from work. So probably took her 15, 20 minutes to get there, right? give her 10, 12 minutes to get inside. So we're just saying it didn't take that long. But she never showed up. All right. So that's odd. Around 12:15, the sheriff's department received a call of a suspicious vehicle in a wheat field. When they arrived, they found Sarah's Chevy Astral van off in the field near the wood line. The vehicle was locked, and there's no signs of a struggle or a crash. In fact, there's no sign of Sara at all that suggests that anything at all, there was foul play or nothing. And Sara Graham was officially reported missing at that time. So almost 5 hours went by. So Sara was born on April 1st, 1996, it states. Sara has a brother, and her parents let's see here. She would have a brother, and her parents would go to split up when Sara was young. Sara's brother and her mother lived in Texas, it says. She had very little contact with her dad's family growing up. For some reason, we don't really know the mindset behind her making the decision that why she left Texas to go live with her dad in the summer of 2014. So evidently, there is some colluding that there must have been a falling out, that they're not saying why she left Texas to go live with her dad. But note this, FBI is involved, right? So just after she graduated high school, Sara's considered part of the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina. So the Lumbee in 1855, the tribe was recognized as an Indian by the state of North Carolina. The tribe has sought full recognition from the United States government since 1988. In 1956, Congress passed the Lumbee Act, which recognized the tribe as the Indian. However, the act withheld full benefits of federal recognition from the tribe. Efforts currently underway to pass federal legislation that grants full recognition to the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina for the full 55,000 members of the tribe of North Carolina. Robertson, Hulk, Cumberland, South Carolina counties tribe is the largest tribe in North Carolina. So evidently, this is the biggest tribe east of the Mississippi River. It's the 9th largest tribe in the nation. That's what the statistics show. So the Lumbee take their name from the Lumbee River, which winds its way through the Robertson County. North Carolina's economic, culture, and political center of the tribe. So in 2014, Sara would move to Fairmont, North Carolina, the small rural town just north of South Carolina border, to live with her dad and her stepmom. While she had a stepbrother, which for some reason it says they can't confirm he lived with them or she, but they didn't know about the family dynamics. That does not make sense. You see where this is going? So now the information is being diluted. What do you mean you don't know about the family dynamics? So you got a missing child, and you don't know that how the structure is, and you got a child. So that is throwing up a red flag in my book. But however, let's go on. They did get along, supposedly, and they're life, Sarah was just questions. We don't have the answers to, unfortunately, as on the morning of February 4th, 2015, about 6 months after moving, is which did Sarah woke up for work, like always, which is very important to note to these events, is told to law enforcement by the stepmom. Now listen to that, by the stepmom. I always tell people, hi Samantha, welcome to the show. Remember, the media will always give you certain clues, and so will law enforcement. It's important to note that all these events are told to law enforcement by the stepmom and or dad, and no one else can collaborate this. She left for work about 6:30 a.m., and which made sense because she worked at Wal-Mart in Pembroke, North Carolina, which is about 20 to 25 minutes away. What did I say? Roughly, right? Which I expected. And her shift started at 7 a.m. Now, from her work employees, she was always known to be reliable and dedicated. So what was odd is when she didn't show up early for her morning shift. So around 12:15 afternoon, deputies in Robinson County received a call about the suspicious vehicle they have found about the white Chevy Astro minivan parked in a wheat field up against the woods. Now, if she's reliable and she doesn't show up, now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you all, but if you're late to work, what's the first thing your employer does? They contact you. Am I right? Yeah, so you're right, Standing Stone. She left Texas and moved to North Carolina. And allegedly, she joined her heritage, the Indian tribe. And she got a regular job and disappeared. Yeah. But if you work and I'm your employer and you are a reliable employee, excuse me, let me correct myself. I'm going to be calling you and be like, hey, where's Samantha? She ain't at work. Did you oversleep? It's not like her. She's not here. But from my understanding, none of that took place. For what it sounds like, it doesn't say, because I don't have a copy of the police report. I couldn't find that. Is that they found a suspicious vehicle parked in a wheat field along a wooded tree line. So that alleges me that somebody was on patrol and noticed a vehicle that should not have been there and they're like, hey, let's check this out. It don't belong. But all right. So when they ran the vehicle, it came back to Hubbard's Graham, Sarah's father, also known as Robertson, and he's also a sheriff's sergeant on the sheriff's department. Remember I told you the mom and father is in law enforcement? So the vehicle wasn't damaged and it was locked up and simply looked as if someone just parked it there. And upon leaving that it has been driving, it was seen odd that it was no sign of a crash or of a struggle. And no sign and Sarah was there. And the model it was just locked manually. It had to be locked manually with the key. It was not one of those ones. Well, I'll rephrase that. Now, you and I know at our age to lock one of these vehicles, you had to put the key in the door and turn it to lock it. Now, to bypass that, you could hit the lock and hold the door handle up and shut it, then let go of the handle, right, to lock it. You catch my drift? So you can actually bypass that. But most of the time, you'd have to lock it by the key. If not, you hold the handle up, press the little lever, then slam it. Then once the door's slammed, then let go of it, and it's locked. But if you're not smart enough, you use the key to lock the door. So yes. So Wheatfield, located on East McDonald Road near I-95. So there's your next clue. I-95, a major highway between Centerfield Church Road and Chicken Road. Centerfield Church Road is the road on which Sara and her family lived on Fairmont. In fact, the house was just 6 miles from where the van was found. Witnesses came forward to recall seeing the van there as early as 6:45 a.m. So allegedly she left at 6:30, and 15 minutes later they found the van, these witnesses, 15 minutes later in the field. So what does that tell you? 15 minutes later, something happened. The van was there as early as 6:45 in the morning, but no one saw anyone or anything unusual around the van. Sara Nicole Graham had seemed to vanish into thin air with little clues or no evidence pointing to whereabouts or what happened. There was exceptionally out of character for this shy, sweet 18-year-old girl. Now I wonder who's saying this. They searched for Sara began on foot. No one could really understand what was going on and would cause this young, shy girl to vanish and her van parked off in the wheat field. And they called it bizarre, and it didn't make any sense. So Robinson County took over the case at first. And coincidentally, and now listen to this, Sara's father was a sergeant at the sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department the father was at took it over. Sara's stepmom was also a deputy at the department as well. So now you got the mom, excuse me, let me rephrase myself. You have the stepmom, hello, the stepmom and the father, which is the sergeant. They both work for the sheriff's department that is now involved in the case. Which the first thing I think they should have done was secure the scene and call the state police. Because now, don't you think it's a conflict of interest? Yes, that is my daughter. Yes, I want to be involved. But how can you investigate somebody of your own family member? Am I correct? So officers, investigators, and volunteers scoured the area but found no clues. They brought in helicopters, bloodhounds, and still no leads. Don't forget, this is a rural, and it was just 6 miles from their house. The search took place. And from where the van was found on East McDonald Road to Graham's house on Centerville Church Road, the van was found was very near I-95. the main thoroughfare from Florida up through the Carolinas, Virginia, and further up. Someone took Sara. They had an easy way and a quick escape route. I wonder who said that. Now, is it plausible? Yeah, it's plausible. Absolutely crazy witch. 100% conflict of interest. See, this is where things does not look good on somebody. I'm not saying they had any involvement, but you have to withdraw yourself. You have to. It's blood. It's family. Who's making these statements? Are you tattling on yourself? Are you giving yourself clues? Who are making these? Yes, emotions get in the way. Absolutely. You are a person of authority. You have reasonable suspicion to cover up evidence if you wish or you may. You have the capability of to do so. You have a way to thwart off authorities on a case into another direction. You see where I'm going? I'm not saying it did. I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying there are possibilities. All innocent, all parties are innocent until proven to in a court of law. But why put the spotlight on yourselves and cast doubt? Because now listen to this. Now, this is where it starts to take a twist. Because this is where it doesn't make sense. Later, this seems to be a little bit odd, but there was very little attention from any media sources. Remember, I said that in the beginning. That's why I looked at the case. This seems a little odd since the father was a sergeant on the department. Because wouldn't he be pushing the case? I would. That's my daughter. I'd be up in the media's rear. I'd be screaming at the local newspaper, the local news channels. I'd be writing. I'd be calling. I'd be down at the news stations. I'd be calling my contact. I know because I was the PR for one of my police departments. I know how that works. I make a phone call and they'd be down at the station. I would have all the channels. Yes, I know how that works. And one answers into her disappearances. Just over a month after Sara went missing on March 18th, her stepmother, Connie Graham, was fired from her job from the sheriff's department. Fired. As a sheriff's deputy of Robeson County Sheriff's Department, Connie Graham had worked there for 23 years. Now, this did raise some eyebrows in the community. But at this time, statement was released that this was due to personal reasons with the department, had nothing to do with Sara Graham's disappearance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now you try to convince me of something otherwise than that. Now, you try to tell me somebody with 23-year law enforcement career with the department and your stepdaughter goes missing and a month later you get terminated. Now, let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Let me explain to you how you get terminated from a sheriff's department. You have sheriff's department association. So either they got dirt on you to where you cannot fight it, because they just don't come up to you and say you're fired. They got to have dirt on you, and you can't fight it. That's why you have the FOP, Fraternal Order of Police. That's why you pay your dues. So when they come up to you, some crackpipe, excuses to write you up or reprimand you or put you on suspension or put something in your personnel file, you go to the FOP and you file a complaint and you have your legal defense funds. And I'll explain to you all how that works. So, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Aussie suit's very suspicious. Yes, standing stones. Absolutely. So, now I don't know the facts. We don't know the facts of what it is. Now, personal reasons. Now, that can be a plethora of things. Whatever that may be, we don't know. But I'm just saying it's just awful strange. They just don't come up and say, hey, you're terminated. 23 years, I'll be fighting left and right and saying, the hell with you. So, no, I don't buy it. So, Hubert, the father, left the county sheriff's department after working there for over 20 years. Now, wait a minute, ladies and gentlemen. So the stepmom gets fired and the dad ends up leaving, the sergeant. Wait a minute. Why did he leave? 20 years. He took a position in a small town as a police officer at a small town, North Carolina, Rowland, North Carolina, would be there where he remains today. However, now he serves as the chief of police as Robertson County's border of North Carolina as actually he's the chief of police there now of that town. So, yeah, so he leaves. And also, it's noted, it's one of the main areas. Let's see here. It says here, he serves as the chief of police of Robeson County that sits on the border of North and South Carolina. It's a large county, the largest actually in North Carolina, which looking at land mass, it's primarily rural and one of the main areas of North Carolina for Lumbee, I can't say it right, tribe, travel headquarters being in Pembroke, North Carolina. The area is also known to be active in the drug trade. It sits about halfway between Miami, Florida, and New York City on Interstate 95, making it popular stopping place for traffickers. The county is just over 100,000 permanent residents, although it's known place for migrant workers as well as all the agriculture there and large bodies of water. But there are many small ponds. I wonder why they said that. Named for Lombard River, it runs through the county. Almost zero news coverage on Sarah's disappearance. In early 2020, authorities stated there's a person of interest and it's hopefully just a matter of time before an arrest was made. Never happened. Did it? While the person has been publicly identified, many local authorities believe it's been Sarah's stepmom. But what do you think happened to 18-year-old Sarah? Some people think she ran off. I don't think she ran off, ladies and gentlemen. Really? Do y'all think she ran off? She left Texas. She wanted to come home to live with daddy. Evidently, she was happy with her job. She was coming home to live with her Indian tribe. She's going to go park her van 6 miles down the road in a wood line and lock it up and say hasta la vista and jump on a bandwagon and disappear. All right, here's another fairy tale, ladies and gentlemen. Sarah Nicole Graham, described as a Native American woman, 5'4" tall, weighing around 160 pounds. She was last seen February 2015. She's brown, curly, shoulder-length hair, brown eyes, wears glasses. Sarah's also has braces at the time. She's possibly wearing a Wal-Mart vest, and she said to left her house there at $5,000 reward for any information on her whereabouts. No family deserves to be left wondering what happened to her. The Robertson County Sheriff's Office phone number is 910-671-3170. If you have any information, contact them. If I wouldn't contact them, I'd contact the FBI, to be honest. So maybe they both were getting too close and took their daughter to one of the big cover-up with trafficking. So I don't know. I don't know what happened, ladies and gentlemen. It's awful strange. So I think she had a falling out with her mom in Texas. Her dad probably didn't want her to come home. Maybe something was going on at home. She went home. Maybe something was going on at the home. Hey, you know what? Maybe her mom and dad got canned because they got involved in the investigation and they shouldn't have. Maybe that's probably what happened. Let's look at it that way. Let's turn a negative to a positive. But if that was the case, don't you think the sheriff's department would have came out and would have said that? Yeah, Liana, what is the motive? It didn't say, that's the thing, it didn't say anything about life insurance. What was very strange, hello, Lauren. Welcome to the show. What was very strange, though, is the lack of coverage on everything. And then the stepmom being dismissed from the department. Like I said, usually when something like that happens, I didn't say it, Liana, you said it. So, and you know how things are in small towns. So Aussie Sue, I looked up the stats for 2015. And I looked up in 2015, there were 340,000 missing juveniles that year. That means under the age of 18. 340,000. So, but I went to look in the stats of North Carolina in that small town, and it's just strange. Because like I said, in sheriff associations, the fees are not that much. They're usually 25 to 40 to 60 bucks a year. With legal defense, maybe up to 120. I can't remember. It's probably changed by now per year. FOP dues for some departments depends on the department size and how many officers in the lodge. It can range between 350 to 500 bucks or so a year. I mean, it just depends on the legal defense funds. So, I mean, anything's a possibility right now. It's strange that the stepmom leaves, right? She gets terminated, personal reasons. And then all of a sudden the dad leaves after 20 years. So now he did not get terminated. So it must have been hush hush behind closed doors. And let's just assume, theorize that, hey, either you leave quietly or we're going to force you out. And that's why he got another job at a small town police department and ended up becoming police chief later on. So we know by powers to be that that is a trafficking interstate, which, you know, I-71 is, I-64 is, I-70 is. You know, what major interstate is not? So, you know, we can all say that, but it is strange. Lack of media coverage, stepmom and dad and law enforcement. Very curious. So I want to know. So I scoured the internet. I scoured public records, and what's strange is that, once again, is that I did not find any indication that her employer anywhere mentioned or documented contacted anybody about her not arriving at work on time, which was odd because usually they notify somebody, right? And that the department that the mom and dad worked at the time found the vehicle off in the field. So of course, when they ran the registration off the vehicle plate, they're going to contact the sergeant and be like, "Hey, why is your vehicle out here in the middle of the field next to the wood line?" So, but hindsight, you know, quarterbacker, basketball player sitting on the couch, whatnot. I guess, you know, we can all see would have done things differently. Give them the benefit of the doubt. I would have still handled things differently and called the state police in and said, "Hey, you need to take this over," or called the sheriff and been like, "Hey, this is what's going on," and let him make the decision to call the state police in. Why did people not call the state? That's why they're there. Officer involved shooting. You don't investigate your own officers. You call in the state. So, but yes. So while the media didn't cover something that's definitely a point itself nowadays, yeah, it is. A small town that would have made the news big time, Crazy Witch. That would resonate for some time. Not only that, that would have made the news in the surrounding counties as well. Especially a native to a tribe, you know, an indigenous person. So, yes, that would have probably rung some bells. So, I don't know. You know, I don't want to think the worst, but there are a lot of red flags on this case. And, you know, and we all want to, you know, jump on the bandwagon and think the worst on things, but let's not try to. So we're gonna exactly, or it's biased, yeah. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, you know what we're gonna do? We're going to take this information and we're gonna submit it and see what's gonna happen. So, like I said, you all can look it up. Sarah Graham from North Carolina. You can Google it and see what you all can find out. I couldn't find anything out. I checked on some of my local resources. No newspaper articles, no police reports. And that was very strange, because usually I can get those informations and articles and so forth. So, yeah, Liana, it does. It's hush hush. So, Very strange. So I think right now, I think she was 17, 18 when she went missing, or 18, I think. Let's see here. Because the first thing, so 18 years old and the FBI was involved. And that was another thing that raised a red flag right away. 18 years old and the FBI was involved. So that was kind of unusual right off the bat, right? So FBI is involved, 18 years old, $5,000 reward. Who put up the money? The FBI did. It looked like. Um, so regarding debt investigation, Department of Investigation, loan of officers involved. I think that's probably what happened. It's probably why the FBI got involved. I'm assuming, but I cannot prove that. That is one of my theories that I thought about when I read the case, because I was tinkering on this one and another one, but I kept coming back to this one. But when I kept looking at this case, I kept getting more and more red flags. So we'll submit it and let's see what happens. And it's going to be very interesting and see what kind of feedback we actually get. We have some new panel members that joined on the panel this past week. So we're going to see how they turn out and how they do. So we'll go from there, ladies and gentlemen. And I greatly appreciate you tuning in. And we'll see you next Friday. And we'll see what happens. God bless. And we'll see you then. Take care.